fashion has always been political for Black people.
Black culture, Black fashion, Black bodies is always cool as long as it's not on Black people.
It's all the same landscape of African Americans that wanted to express pain, express creativity that's on the inside, and we have to pour it somewhere. And so hip hop became the somewhere for our culture.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant with Black in America. I have something special for you guys today. I have been waiting for this interview for quite some time with the incomparable Misa Hilton of the Netflix documentary. I hope everyone has had a chance to see it by this time. The Remix, it's executive produced and directed by like Farrah X and Lisa Cortez. It's definitely a must-see. Misa, how are you this afternoon? I know we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to ask, just a few questions because you're one for the culture. You are one for the culture. I've lived in Harlem for quite some time. And when I first moved to Harlem and I was talking about fashion and stylists, before they mentioned anybody, they mentioned you. You are the first name, on the list in Harlem. So much love and respect for you. So I just want to talk, briefly just about, your journey and, some of those big major fashion icons who may have influenced you when you were a young woman coming of age. I mean, we got like Diana Ross, Grace Jones. I mean, Mahogany turns 45 years old this year. Like, can you believe that?
No. Well, some of my earliest fashion influences came from the people in my environment, inside my home and outside of my home. So the people in my family were especially the women I looked up to as far as fashion, my aunties, my mother, and in my neighborhood, I looked to street style and I was heavily influenced by that. As far as superstars, I would have to say Diana Ross, Cher.
Cher, yes.
Yes, Diana Ross, Cher, and Shaka Khan.
Wow, those are some big ones. Those are some big ones. So Misa, just moving fast forward to today, there's a lot of talk about like, cultural appropriation, just about, hip hop culture. It's pretty much often pimped in the business and the creators of it. The purveyors of that culture never really get the financial reward for it. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know in the documentary, Bevy Smith, who is somebody who I love and admire from Harlem, you got a chance to, talk with Dapper Dan in this documentary. What are your thoughts about, what happened with Dapper Dan and Gucci? Let's start there.
I mean, it's nothing new. We've been, our style and swagger is unmatched, and our cool factor makes sales, it moves product, it creates excitement, it brings this energy to fashion, to the fashion world, and really any area of art and culture. So what happened at Dapper Dan was just like the last straw, I believe, for us. We've been being stolen from and appropriated forever. Due to social media, we had an opportunity to come together and to amplify our voices, to stand up for our brother Dapper Dan, and to point out what was happening, the appropriation that was happening, the stealing of a design with no credit. And no mention, which was insane, especially because apparently Dapper Dan's picture was on their mood board and their inspiration board, so they knew where it came from. So nevertheless, we had this opportunity to come together, band together, and amplify our voices, and the rest is history. We got the attention of the right people, and from that point, Dap was able to get not only his credit but also an opportunity to work with the company.
Wow, that's absolutely,
which was unheard of. I mean, those types of opportunities have been very rare for us in the past, almost non-existent, to be able to collaborate with a company as big as Gucci.
It's amazing. I mean, like I said, I am a Harlem resident, and you know, just to have that presence when you walk up and down Lenox Avenue, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, we love Dapper Dan in Harlem, like we love you. I mean, there's just so many that we're like, hey, you guys blew the trail out for us. You know, one would have to be living under a rock if they don't know that, you know, your career started, you know, with Diddy. You guys share a child together. You know, you studied, you know, under, I don't want to say the tutelage, but just in terms of like your business acumen, you know, working with Andre Harrell. You know, talk a little bit about, you know, those early days, and what advice would you give to your younger self, Misa, you know, in terms of, you know, working with Andre Harrell, you know, working with Diddy, you know, what would you say to your younger self today, just looking back, hindsight, you know, on some of the missteps you may have made just out of youth and naivety?
Well, you know, it was such an amazing experience to work under Andre Harrell. He is the most amazing creator. He loves youth culture. He loves new ideas. He's always open to what the people who are younger than him think. And I thought that that was really special, because the time of me was very young. I was actually in high school. And the fact that he saw something special in me really speaks to how special he actually is, that he has this gift of like being able to see what others may not be able to see about themselves. He sees it first, and he empowers that, and he lifts that up, and he speaks to it, and he helps that grow and come to life. So that was really like, such an honor to be in his presence, especially as a young creative and a young woman who didn't really know what direction I was going into. I didn't think fashion styling would be a job that I could turn into a career. I never heard of anything like that. I was never encouraged to go in that direction, being a creative person. It just wasn't something that was a normal part of any conversation I had ever been in. And if I had to go back and think about what I would tell my younger self, I felt like everything was perfect. Everything that happened, it happened as it should have, for the right reasons and the right purpose. It made me stronger. It made me resilient. And if I didn't have those lessons, I wouldn't have that wisdom, right? I wouldn't have that growth. So it was all perfect. It was all perfect. I wouldn't change anything.
I love that, Misa. I love that, because the goal is to try not to have any regrets and to honor every experience. You know what I mean? To honor every experience, good, bad, and indifferent. The goal is to find the lesson. You know what I mean? To find the lesson. That's right. You know, you mentioned.
That's right. And even though some things may not always feel great, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be great in the end. You know, you have to go through things and challenges and discomfort to grow and to learn. That's the only way.
I love that, because delayed is not denial. Delayed is not denial. You know, you mentioned how, you know, the late Andre Harrell was really awesome at, you know, nurturing and cultivating young people, welcoming in their ideas. Misa, there are so many young men and women who want to do what you're doing, you know, who want to be in this space. You know, what are some words of advice, you know, you would give to young stylists? Because it's business, you know, you and I are both in the entertainment space, you know, just in different, you know, lanes of it. You know, and so many young people, they just think they could just, you know, jump right in. And I'm like, it's about longevity, you know? So what do you want to say, or what can you say, you know, to young men and women who want to do what you do? They see your partnership with MCM, they're on your Instagram, you know, but they're not there to welcome the entire journey.
Right. Well, you're absolutely right. You know, that's the exact reason why I started the Misa Hilton Fashion Academy. And I founded it in 2012. And it was a way that I could give back to young creatives who were interested in coming into the fashion business, initially as a fashion stylist. Now we have a streetwear program, we have fashion technology, we have a business course, and we're adding courses every day. We have a personal shopping course as well. So education is important. Understanding the business of the business that you want to get into. Even though it's a creative business and you have your gift and your talent, you also have to understand the culture of the business. You have to understand understand the way the business actually runs, so that you know how to not only be a creative, but to create a sustainable business for yourself, and know what to expect in return. As a creative, sometimes it feels like people may feel guilty about charging, or guilty about what their costs or their fees are. But when you have knowledge and you understand the business side of it, and how you should get paid, and what you're getting paid to do, and the team that you're a part of, it makes it easier. Because I always say, right?
Misa, girl.
You're not going to go to your job and say, oh, I worked the extra 10 hours, but I don't want to say anything. No, you're going to put in for that overtime, right? So don't feel guilty because you're living your dream and you're feeling good and you're feeling happy and you're creating, that it doesn't work the same way. So understanding the business, the culture, the area of fashion you're getting into. As a fashion stylist, you have celebrity fashion styling, you have editorial, you have runway, you have television and film, you have advertisement, right?
Ooh.
Those are the basic lanes. So they're all different. The culture is different. The creativity is different. The corporate culture is different. You know what I mean? So it's like really understanding what that is and what that looks like, so that when you go in and you enter into these spaces, you are aware, you know what you want, and no one can throw you off because you are confident, because you have the knowledge, you know what it is. Mentorship is important too. Seeking out mentors or groups of people who mirror you and your intentions and your goals and the type of things that you want to be a part of in your life. I think that's important, keeping a good circle around you of positive people, seeking out mentorship when you can. And I didn't have a mentor when I was coming up, and that's why it's so important for me to be a mentor and to have my academy. But I did have some amazing people around me, and God always sent an angel my way. Whenever there was something that I did not, where I needed information, it's like they appeared just like that.
Wow.
And so you got to trust the process as well. So you can't be scared. You just got to keep going and keep going, but educate yourself. Take the time to become knowledgeable about the industry that you want to be in. For real, if you want to be in the industry, you should know 5 people who are doing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
What you want to do.
Yeah.
So,
it's
that's
it. I mean, that's it. You have to really study. You have to lean in. You have to find, a safe space for what you want to do. How can someone be a part of the Misa Hilton Fashion Academy? Am I saying it right? Misa Hilton Fashion Academy. Correct?
Yes, you are. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they can go on our website, which is www.misahiltonfashionacademy.com. And there's an application process and then an interview process. So we're very intentional and deliberate about the candidates and and who's serious and who has the work ethic and really the passion, right? And then, if you apply and interview, and once accepted, you start.
Wow, that is amazing. Misa, my last question, you're a woman of power, thought-provoking, dialed into what it means to be a woman in business. Right now we have Kamala Harris, who I'm hoping, fingers crossed, is going to be, a vice president. Can you talk about how important it is for, millennials and just for all of us to get out to the polls this November 3rd, and make sure that we're voting in the right direction, because in 2016, there was a whole generation, that were Bernie or bust. And now look at what we have, Trump for 4 years.
Every year is the same conversation and the same message to our people over and over again. You have to go vote. That is our power. That is our voice. That is, we make a difference by going out to vote. So for me, it's continuing that message. And look what happened. Look what happened when we didn't show up as powerfully as we could. We have someone in office that we never expect. I didn't even think Trump was going to win. Did you?
No.
I didn't know he had a chance. So I think I fell asleep and was like, yeah, Hillary got it. Like we don't even have to worry about anything with him. And then just for him to be in office is like crazy. The things that he does every day, the things that he says, it's almost like a joke now.
Yeah, it's
You know
embarrassing.
what I
It's
mean? It's
embarrassing.
almost, I just can't even believe it. We cannot let this guy get back in again. And, you know, just, it's just imperative that we do it, period, point blank.
Oh,
And, you know, everyone, that's the message, right? So it's like, we can't force anyone. All we can do is continue to say, go out and vote, go out and vote, go out and vote, and share knowledge and share information that supports what we're saying and why it will make a difference. And I just am very hopeful that we will see those numbers that we need to see.
I hope so, Misa. You know, I'm just so grateful
Me
that
too.
um, you know, that you took time to speak with me today. I've been really excited about this interview. The remix
Of
is
course. I'm glad
outstanding.
we found you've been so
Yeah.
flexible, so
I'm
flexible.
like, oh my
Thank you
God,
so
what's
much.
happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? You know, I'm like, but time is always on our side. You know what I mean? You got to keep the vibration high. You know, we're women in business. We're always trying to make
That's,
things happen. Sometimes the schedule
yeah,
changes. You know, just before we go, you know, when you got the
yeah,
call about the remix, what
yeah.
resonated with you? It's so crazy because I saw you guys on the red carpet back in
Mm-hmm.
September, almost a year ago at Urban World Film
Yeah.
Festival. And there was so much going on. And I'm like, I can't, like, I was just y'all had just walked on off. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is crazy.
Girl,
What?
let me, oh, I didn't get to you where you were like
Yes.
down the
No,
line.
I was in the middle. Here's what happened. I was like, I had a great spot, but I think they were moving people off so quickly, you know, and I was talking to Tyrese and Deion Taylor from Black and Blue. They had just dropped, you know, that premiere I think was running concurrent with you guys.
Right.
It was insane. It was insane. And I looked up
Yeah.
and I'm like, they down the carpet. I'm like, they are gone. They are gone.
Let me tell you something. I am used to being behind the scenes. I'm used to being behind the scenes. So that whole like that whole press line was a lot for me and April. We were
Yeah,
like, oh my God. And
it
especially
is.
with the repetitive questions. And, you know, we had some people interviewing us. They didn't know who was who, what was what we did, saying the wrong thing, saying the wrong name. And we were like, and that goes back to what I'm talking about, being
Yeah.
prepared. That you
Yeah.
have this moment and you're at Urban World, which is a huge deal, and you don't even have your facts straight. So it was
Yeah.
like, I think after we got almost to the end, we were like, okay, we gave what we could.
Yeah.
It was a lot, but you
Yeah,
know, we're learning.
I was
I'm
just like,
learning.
oh my gosh, because I was like I said, I was in such a great spot, and you know, it was like I said, today was meant to happen. I'm glad we had our moment. The remix is absolutely amazing and powerful, but I just want you to talk really briefly before we wrap this up. Like when you got the call, knowing
Yeah.
that Lisa Cortez and Farrah X was doing this big documentary, you know, really primarily centered around you, which is that's remarkable, Misa.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been
Mm-hmm.
waiting for this.
I
Like you're
know,
so,
right?
I mean, so well deserved. So
Thank
well
you.
deserved, you know, and I
Thank
won't
you. Thank you
like
so much.
long overdue. It's your time. There's no such
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's your time. You know,
Yeah.
like the moment is here. So when you
Yeah.
got it, when you got the call, like, you know, walk me through like what was going through you. And, you know, did you have a moment where you had to really decide, you know, what parts about your life that you wanted to, you know, share with the world? You know, or some things that you may have said, well, you know what, maybe I want to hold that, you know, to myself.
Emil Wilbekin called me up and he invited me to a meeting with Lisa Cortez. It was a blizzard that day. We all fought through it, got to Harlem, had a meeting. Lisa Cortez shared with me the film that she was working on and what it was about. It sounded, you know, women in hip hop fashion. It sounded right up my alley, of course. So I was very interested. I shared my story with her as far as my experience and my journey in the business. And by the end of the meeting, she said, well, Misa, I want to share something with you. We need a guide for this, or like a star of the documentary, and I would like for it to be you. And I was like,
Woo!
Whoa, is this really real? So I looked at Emil and I was just like, wow. And I had previously gone through a very challenging time, and, you know, I was in the middle of evolving and going to that next level. And that moment represented that I had gotten there. That moment for me was like a full circle that, you know, divine timing is always important. And you have to trust that tough times don't last for long. And when you stay at balance that and increase your self-awareness and really take every opportunity to grow, to go deep within and to do the work and to look inside of yourself, that once you do that, there's always blessings on the other side, because that's how you evolve, that's how you elevate, and that's how you ascend. So that to me represented I did the work. It also was a representation of divine timing. Like it's always the perfect time. Some people say it's long overdue, or, you know, this should happen before, whatever, but I'm fine with it happening now, because as long as it does happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I understand why people say that, of course, you know, but for me, I'm good with it. It was an amazing experience. It was difficult for me to be in front of the camera. I wasn't comfortable there. I like to be behind the scenes. Obviously, that's what I've done my whole career. And I'm pretty modest, and I don't really share a lot publicly. Like if you know me or we're one-on-one or at a dinner or, you know, we're friends, I'm an open book. But as far as sharing with the world, that was something that I had to get used to. But I knew that I wanted to do it because I wanted to share not only the amazing things that I have done and accomplished, but also the challenges that I have experienced and what that was like for me going through the process, because that's what inspires people. That's what makes us relate as humans. It's not all the great stuff. It's those challenging times and the hard times and the things that we have to go through as women in business, as Black people. And it's not easy, you know? And so, you know, and as far as me sharing my financial hardship, as a single mother entrepreneur, it's not easy, period. And it's hard to juggle. It's hard to keep it all together. And I think that that's something that we need to make, create a safe space to talk about with no judgment, no fear, no whatever, because it is what it is. I'm not the first person. I won't be the last, unfortunately, but it's real. And I think that people may have been surprised to hear that, but that's even more of a reason to share. Like if it happened to me or I experienced that and you're going through it, I got through it I got on the other side of it, and you can too. And never
you
give up.
inspired a lot of women, girl. You inspired a lot of women, and I've had several conversations, you know, since COVID started. You know, I had a beautiful interview with Erica Pittman, you know, with so many women in business. And, you know, we talk about these things, and it's just really important. Just by you opening up yourself and being so transparent, you know, you made yourself an ally, really. You know, you made yourself an ally to so many people, to so many women who are kind of embarrassed about speaking about, you know, missteps or just financial hardship. You know, you made it easy for us, you know, to talk about that. And I applaud you for that. Misa, thank you so much for your time. You know, you're an unrefutable event, girl. You are an unrefutable event. You know, we love you uptown. We love you in Harlem, girl. And now the world is coming to love you.
I love you all too.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Continue blessings, Misa. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Love and blessings and light to you too. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Women in hip-hop fashion don't always get the respect that we deserve. And we've always been there from the beginning.
So much of our story is in what we wear. Our Black Lives Matter collection had Gregory sip paint, breathe, breathe, breathe. When American fashion is spoken about, Misa Hilton is left out of the conversation.
The new generation needs to know our history.
Our music and our fashion, we keep creating new culture. This is our time.